The chair is against the wall. John has a long mustache. John has a long mustache. It's 12 o'clock, Americans, another day closer to victory. And for all of you out there on or behind the lines, this is your song.
And good afternoon. I guess this isn't the Daily Gun Show. I was getting ready to say that out of reflex. So tonight or this afternoon, I guess depending on where you are, I'm just going live because I'd rather be at DragonMan's, and I'm not at DragonMan's. And today is the day that DragonMan would be opening. So I sent a link out to some people and to our Patreon, and I'm going to open up my favorite software for drawing, which is Adobe Illustrator. And once it opens up here, we'll go find a DragonMan picture, the one I used on the thumbnail for this. So first we'll create a new file. DragonMan's Dragon. I name it because it really doesn't matter. I'll still got to name it when I save it. But now we'll go save it real quick, I guess. Let's put this in Gun Show Loophole Tour folder, and we'll just call it that. There. Now it's a file saved on my computer, and if I edit it or screw it around, I can go pick it back up again. So now we're going to place a picture from the archives. So I'm going to take back into the archives. I first visited DragonMan's in 2017, and there it is. Look at all these pictures from DragonMan's. So we can do a little slideshow here while we get going, see who all shows up. I don't think I have any inappropriate pictures in here. So we'll do a little slideshow from those 2017. Oh, I guess I won't do a little slideshow. So it wants me to place that picture, but I don't want that picture. I'll delete it, and I'll go find the picture I was going to look at anyway. So we're going to place a picture in here like we just did, except this time the correct picture. I'm going to make these thumbnails a little bit bigger, and you can tell from the description I'm going to be drawing this dinosaur, or this dragon when I say dinosaur. This is my favorite picture of it, but this one is better. So I think I'm going to take both, and then I'll take that one just because. And is this going to give me anything different? I don't think so. So see, this one has its whole tail, and this one's much bigger. So we're going to place all three of those. And then I just saw one as I was closing this. So if I just click, it's going to give it to me in full size, which is actually fine. So that piece of white there in the background is actually like, I think, 11 by 17. So this is a huge picture right now. Like bigger than a head sheet, I think. So there's the two that are very similar. Until they're barely different. I don't even know if I need both of them. And then this is that bigger side picture. I'm going to go ahead and place another one in here, because as soon as I clicked those three, I saw this one. So this is as you're coming in. So here's the van, and I'll grab this one too. I don't think I have any more of it, but I'll double check. I might have some pictures from a different visit though. Wonder if you'd be able to see it from, not from this aerial view at least. So anyway, that's two more pictures. We'll grab those and make that one about that big. Well, you can see how wide it is there. It's going around the van. That's cool. You need to get more picture of it, I guess. Actually, this is a little guy on the left. Okay. So this is a whole different dragon. I wonder who made these. I didn't ask. So I'm going to take this one, and instead of trying to wiggle it, I'm just going to do it the weird, lazy way. And I'm going to rotate it 90 degrees. And then we'll move it over here. And now I'm going to minimize all this and see if anybody has jumped into the chat. And nobody has, but some people are over here saying hello. SS Pawns, first one to jump in. Welcome. People don't know who SS Pawn is. That's a pawn shop up in Nebraska. I guess Lexington, Nebraska, judging from their actually a decent thumbnail there. You got the whole name of the shop and the location for you. So anyway, they're a pawn shop in Nebraska that participates in these live conversations and supports people out there, both financially, which I guess is nice, but also just in general. Like moral support. Seeing you out there in the chat's always cool. Appreciate that. And first one in here today, Kingpin, who has a link, didn't jump in, but probably busy fending off the bowling balls. Got Erstwhile jumping in. I have those robot fingernails over here, and I'm chomping at the bit to get out there and work on that stuff. But this stupid virus screwed everything up. Eventually, I'll get out there though. About to get too hot, but I'll get an air conditioner, play with those things. Erstwhile sent me a whole bunch of blades for the. Let's see, I shouldn't go there. I should go here. Click on my channel. Click on my own videos. Type in robot blade. That'll probably find it. Maybe not. So maybe just robot. It's not that far ago, but I've got a lot of videos in the archive, so it'll take a while. So yeah, there's a picture of them. He sent me all these different end mills. They're not really end mills, I guess. Some of them are end mills. But mill bits for the robot. And this will give me the ability to it'll give the robot the ability to do what I can't do yet in the software. Really looking forward to being able to play with that though. Like I say, I'll get an air conditioner out there if I can do it, and then be able to work even when it's like 100 and something out there. So Erstwhile jumped in. Oh, looks like Woods is jumping in. You got your camera on, FYI. And Woods is up in the Pacific Northwest. Thanks for jumping in.
Hey, G, no problem.
And then I'm just saying hey to everybody and clicking on their stuff. Normally I would use guntube.org, the chamber over there, but I like using that little thingy that El Bato gives me. So that's what I use. So we should be eating dinner after the last day of Wanamaker right now. I don't know about that. Let's see. It's 3 o'clock. What time is it? It's 4:40 in Kansas. No, in Oklahoma. What am I saying? No way. I'm not eating dinner at 4:40. No. Plus, I don't think I wanted to leave. I wouldn't have wanted to leave the show right now. I would have still been at the show, I think. I don't like driving. It must be $500 to get there. So I don't like driving all the way over there and then leaving like I got something else better to do. But depends on where we'd go for dinner too. Because some of these people go to chains. I'm not going 500 miles. $500 takes me 1,700 miles to get there. I'm not going to no chain, you know what I mean? I'm going to what's his face for dinner or for breakfast, I mean, and then I'm not saying I found it my favorite place in Tulsa yet for dinner. I can tell you where I ain't going for dinner, and that's most of the places that P226 Nut has recommended because I don't like the way that guy eats. But yeah, should be Wanamaker right now. It's one of the other reasons I wanted to go live. Do the calendar. I guess that's something else we can open up over here. Do the calendar project, ideally every day, but we don't have events every single day. But the events that started out this month were the iGold, so the Illinois Gun Owners Legislation Day. And that's, I think, got kicked to May 31st or something, or May something. So who knows if that'll actually get rescheduled or not. We had the Pony Express, but then Knob Creek, right? So that got canceled. You got the anniversary of the passing of Otis McDonald, the guy from the McDonald who got the guy that ended the prohibition on carrying firearms in Chicago. He died. He passed a couple years ago, and then Roy Weatherby also passed. But then you got the Knob Creek machine gun shoot, and you got Wanamaker, which should have been happening this weekend. Today is Arasaka was born, so a guy who made a rifle that shot a bunch of dudes. Born today. And then Gold Star Spouses Day. It's really called Gold Star Wives Day, but we call it Gold Star Spouses. And really it's to recognize those spouses of those who have died. So if you don't know what it is, if you see somebody with a gold star, offer some respect. It's a polite way of them acknowledging that they had a veteran who's passed and they're basically a war widow. So it's a day for them. It's the kind of thing that's tough to recognize or acknowledge. There's no person or date. So this is the date that it was set to. Honestly, I don't know why. There's probably a reason why it was November or April 5th, but I know that it started in 1945, so I'm guessing it has something to do with the war, the ending of the war, maybe, but I haven't looked into it. The other anniversary today would have been the opening of DragonMan's. So DragonMan's is a museum in Colorado Springs, Colorado, and I've been to a lot of museums. It is definitely the best private museum, period. Well, yes. Yes, it's the best private museum. Holy shit, it might be the best private museum of all museums, let alone just gun museums. But it's it's amazing experience. You get to go hang out in Mel's DragonMan's collection, and it's literally his, what does it say? 78,000 square foot. So 78,000. It's basically, well, I tell you what, I went to go buy a cop car from the Tucson Police Department one time, and I went to where their cop cars get fixed or whatever, like their mechanics, what do you call like their, what do you call like with a stable for cop cars? There's a name for that. Or garage or something. There's a name for when you fix them though. Anyhow, I went to wherever that was because that's where they had the cars that they were auctioning. And DragonMan's place is bigger than the Tucson Police Department's place where they fix their cars at. And it's not a small place. I mean, there was 12 or 15 lifts in there, and they have enough to really maintain a lot of vehicles. And DragonMan's is bigger than that, easy. It's twice that size. So it's his own personal museum. He has a gun shop. He has ranges. He has paintball range facilities, what we're going to call paintball places. He's got shooting ranges. Then he's got this big gun shop. He also makes most of it. Well, I don't know if he makes most of his money. He makes money fixing Harleys and stuff. So he's got a pretty big machine shop and everything. And then he's got this big museum. And the museum is open. I think this year it was supposed to be Wednesday and Sunday because he's had so much interest in it. But it used to be just Sundays. And basically one tour, sometimes 2 tours a week, depending on how many, or yeah, per week, depending on how many people would show up. And then because it's not heated, and for other reasons, I guess, because it gets cold up there and probably just traffic getting there, snow and everything, it closes during the winter. So it would have opened today and then run through the 11th or Memorial Day, I think. Was it November? So anyway, we're going to do a memorial because we're not in DragonMan's. So got Gizzard out there. That's just Pawn saying hello. And there's you saying you're going to jump in. Now you're in here. So that's how far behind I am in these things. You break those, let me know. Right on. Appreciate it.
Do we know he's really close?
What's that?
There's some, I was wrong. Some gun stores here in Washington, they're still open even though the governor told them to close. He seems like kind of a liberty kind of dude. Maybe he's just open anyway.
Oh, DragonMan? No, I just watched a thing over on the Instagram actually.
But you see what I'm saying? Like, if there's,
His shop is open.
I wouldn't be shocked if he was still open.
His shop's open, or his store is open. But yeah, he did post about it. So if I go over here and see DragonMan, so if you want to check out his Instagrams. Oops.
I could see where the videos I've seen from like Honda and you, where you guys have been there, where he gets people to like squish all together to see a certain thing. I don't think that would work out very well.
I mean, if he could take 1 or 2 people in at a time, I'm sure. But the problem is, it's his museum, so he wouldn't. You know, if you stood 6 feet apart, he would have people strung out through the whole thing, and you'd have to be a lot. You'd have to really trust people,
Right?
He doesn't really walk around in this video. Well, he walks around a little bit here. So yeah, I mean, there's just stuff sitting around. It's his collection. It isn't a museum as much as an opportunity to experience a very awesome collection that's designed in a way that you can experience it. You know, so often I've seen people with actually more stuff, probably, honestly. I've seen people with as much stuff, you know, pieces for sure, but even with as much stuff, I've seen some private collections that would make you poop yourself. But it's frustrating as hell because you're not even, I would be breaking trust to even talk about more than that, right? And they're in storage containers. They're in, you know, people's basements and stuff. This is beyond that, and he's sharing it with everybody. The reason it takes 78,000 square feet is because there's room to walk around. Like you say, when he takes a tour through, there's probably 20 something people. So these aisles are big enough and stuff, but 78,000 square feet spread out, is, 6 feet apart. Garbage you'd be all through here. So you'd have to trust people not to be kicking over picture frames and, $5 discount and everything into place. And it's all just sitting there. So that's the best part about it. Now, I hope it would be great, if, let's say, hindsight, if somebody would have, I've tried, but I don't get there enough. I get to visit occasionally, and, how many people does he have visiting? I'm just one guy visiting occasionally. I'm nothing compared to the number of people that come through there. But if somebody closer would have had a relationship with him to have some sort of a trust to do live, imagine the opportunity for, since he's completely shut down in the museum part, but limited staff and everything and limited at the gun shop, I'm sure. Think about the potential for sharing this whole place, because there's more here. In a 2.5-hour visit at the museum, which is how long the tours are, he'll mention things along the way, but he cannot dig into it. And he was apprehensive, and he wouldn't let me do a live thing. I don't get into that, but like I say, it would have been great with hindsight to have an opportunity to, before now, have a relationship with him, to be able to go in there and just spend some time. He's expanding. It's his collection, so he's growing it as the greatest generation is gone, and the is that how it is? Yeah, the boomers are starting to end. The boomers appreciate this stuff because it was their parents that did all this stuff. The boomers are like the result of, right? All the greatest generation came home, had their babies. That's the boomers. So they appreciate this stuff. For me, this is my grandparents' stuff, right? For most people, this is beyond history for them. They barely can acknowledge that this stuff, because it's just every way it's old and weird. I can't even imagine. It's got to be the way I look at a Model T Ford or a horse and buggy. People are looking at this like it's whatever. Anyway, those people are dying. So he's able to collect this stuff. He's able to grow his collection in chunks. In these, he's got it growing in the realm of the guys who are overseas and he has relationships with, bring him like literally new artifacts, new souvenirs from war. And he had to expand the new area, but then he's also able to acquire older stuff. So he had just been talking about how he got stuff from like the Civil War. Again, as people pass and collections are not appreciated by the whoever inherits it, he has an opportunity to add it to his collection, his private collection. Of course, he won't last forever, and his ability to grow this thing won't last forever, or maybe it will, but even if it doesn't last forever, if it does, the chance to go check it out is unique. There's no other country that I can imagine where, now I shouldn't say that. I do know of, and again, I can't break trust here, but I know of people who know warlords, and warlords have shit like this in caves. They'll go to an old mine and they'll just take it, right? Because they are warlords. So they'll just take an old mine and they'll just fill it with stuff like this, not to put it on display, but to prepare for whatever other warlord they got to fight. Right. And so there are places like this. But you're never going to get access to them. You're never going to see them, and they're not legal and stuff. In this country, it's legal. He's able to acquire it. He's willing to share it, and it's an experience that's unique. It's beyond unique. Like I said, I've been to so many museums, and you might see some of this stuff, but knowing that none of this is demilitarized. Every single item in here is not just ready to shoot, but it's all loaded. It's all loaded, and it's with live ammo. The amount of trust in what he does here is just the epitome of freedom, right? And it's just sitting there, and it's the trust that he has with all these people and the relationship they have. They go in and they go out, and they've just been standing next to so many things that are priceless. There's not even, literally, that's a word you throw around, but literally priceless. Just little, you could go in there with a cargo pockets and just to, or a lighter, you could just destroy stuff and it would be horrible. He's got just the most unique experience ever. Here's his new Civil War stuff. So again, it sucks that I wasn't able to get up there, because I was really looking forward to it. I was able to go to the last tour last season when he shut down. So how cool would it have been to make that part of the tour, to go visit on the first day when he opens, and then on the last day when he closes? It'd be kind of neat. And you'd see it as kind of as it progresses and stuff, documented a little bit. Anyway, so we're not gonna be able to do that. Let's see if anybody else jumped in. No, but I'm gonna draw his dragons out front or whatever. All right, so I wrote 5:30 on there. Oh, they're saying 5:40 is when it is in Tulsa. An hour or two ago. Okay, yeah, you're right, because everybody leaves at like 2. All right. So with that, we're gonna go back over to Adobe Illustrator, and so I don't even have the whole thing. See, it comes out of that side of my van and all the way over to here, and then it might even come up again, huh? So all I have is 2 lumps. I wonder if I've got a video, or I guess I could go look at one of my other visits. So I'm going to go place, and now I'll jump 2017 and over to 2018. Find DragonMan's. Make these bigger. Oh, this isn't DragonMan's. This is the that's the red bound rocks. So we'll see. Place. There's all those gas masks. That would be an interesting thing to draw. I wonder how long that would take to draw. Like, how many gas masks is that? 2, 4, 6, 8 times 20, 16? No, 24. Maybe a couple more. Maybe 27. That would take
Sounds
a
like
little.
a minute. You're getting pretty good at this, though.
Yeah, but gas masks have a lot of detail. I'm only fast when I can draw somebody when I've never seen them before, and I don't care. I'm just like click, click, click. They got eyes, they got a mouth. Boom. And it
Good
doesn't even look like them. Like I can do that. Anybody can do that. And it's supposed to look like the gas mask at the end. That might be tougher. Dang, it doesn't look like I got a picture of the dragon at all on this visit. Got the corona, excuse me. Now, one of these visits, he went out and shot the flamethrower. That would have been the 17 visit. There's no video in here, though. No, I don't always put video in. All right, well, I can do it the old-fashioned way. I will go back to the internet, and we'll type in if the internet has a picture of it. There it is. Drone guy, but that's a better picture of all 3 of them. That's from 2014. Usually underneath of the picture, it'll have better ones, but it doesn't this time. Look at this. This is this video. It's pretty neat.
Oh, you searched and found your own video? That's good.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't E Honda go there too?
Yeah.
I just wondered if he had anything for you. Just spitballing.
Yeah, he has an invite to this one. Is he here?
I don't know. I don't know what he's doing.
I think that one is probably the best picture I'm going to find. Let's see what I can get. Open a new tab. Oh, that's actually a pretty damn good picture. I wonder whose picture this is. Copy. And paste. Oh, look how big it is. So,
Is it a teeny little picture there?
Huh?
Is it that teeny little picture there?
yeah, exactly. So it's but you can see it bigger here. But you can tell there's his main body, and then he's got one hand in the ground, I guess, and he's got a hand over here, and now in this picture, you can tell there's some other dragon over here, right? A third dragon. Anyway, so there's the main guy's head, his one hand, his other hand, and then he goes into the ground. He comes out of the ground, and he's got this foot, and I guess he's running. So that foot's about to grab into the ground or whatever it's going to do. And then it comes out, and then you can see it gets really narrow right there. So it snake tails out into the end right there, right out of the picture frame there. So
Right.
that's what I'm assuming. So what I'm thinking is on this one, zoom in on this one. That's what I got going on over here. Yep, you can even see the end of it right there. See?
Right.
The end is evidenced with, well, probably that. Right? Yeah. So that's the end. That's kind of cool. So I think I intentionally did that because it goes into my one review mirror and out the other review mirror. A lot of times when I'm popping wheelies through Chinatown, this kind of shit will happen. But it would be more neon green type of dragon. But I'm gonna draw that version, I think, and then
Do you know any of the history of why he's got the dragon? Did he build it or did he buy it? I'm assuming he bought it somewhere.
well, number one, he's a metal guy, so I could see him being able to make this, but
Yeah.
it doesn't look like his style. So he is called Dragon Man because he's got this motorcycle that looks like a dragon. Have you ever seen it?
Yeah, you showed me that before. But by all
Okay,
means,
and it looked like that. Well, I would think if he made this, like if it was his art in the front, that he would have made it look like his dragon, right? So I
Right.
think somebody gave him this, or maybe somebody else made it for him, or something. I don't know. But I think something like that happened, right? But I've never asked him, and I never heard anybody ask him. So let's go see if there's a story.
I just think it's pretty badass that somebody was like, you know what I need to make today? A big ass fucking dragon.
Oh, I've definitely seen things like this. You haven't seen things like this out, and like I'll be driving down the road, and there'll be a guy who's got like bears and dragons and dinosaurs and
We have some
buffalo.
of that in Eastern Washington.
And that kind of stuff is around here. And I think it's because you get like horse property out here, and it's going to be flat without a lot of. Well, it doesn't matter even if you got trees or not. You know, it's just you're going. Some people want that kind of stuff if they want, big art for their big property or something.
Right. I can think of a couple dinosaurs on the way to Eastern Washington.
But I'm talking like stores. Like the kind of store that'll sell like outdoor fireplaces or big boulders. Do you got stores that just sell boulders to put in your yard?
Yeah, but I've seen some of the really popular around here is chainsaw art, where they like take a log and they make it into like a big bear or whatever, eagle.
Oh, like a totem pole? Yeah.
Yeah, like I see that all the time.
Yeah, we see that occasionally, like up in the White Mountains where there are logs, they'll do that. But exactly. So I've seen places like that where they'll just, whittle a bunch of metal into these shapes like that, various levels of completion or like fanciness. Some of them look really rustic. Some of them look really good. I'd say this is on the really good end. Like they spent some real time, making sure that it's, what's that called when you make sure there's a bunch of angles on a triangle type of grid like that? There's a word for that. Because that's nothing but a bunch of flat surfaces welded together, right?
Right.
So that's
Sure.
like,
So but I'm with you on that. If he would have built that, he would have made it more like his motorcycle, because the motorcycle was the reason he's called that.
I don't see nothing on a quick search. But there must be something else called the Dragon Man statue. So I'm getting stuff mixed in that has nothing to do with Dragon Man. But anyway, I'm going to use this as a reference, but I'm not going to draw off of it. I will use my little taily piece, and I'll just wing it. I'll just make it happen. So then, where's this? Where's this? Where's this? Why isn't it opening? There. Nobody's in here. Okay. Let's see. I don't know who all we left off at. There's Drucifer's there, and Blitz, and us. So I guess we'll, and then Probst, we'll jump in here. So there. We're going to go with this one, I guess. just move all this other stuff out of the way for now, kind of, and then I'll move this one down here, and I'll just, I guess I'll put this over here. Oh, you know what I did? I'm so big on these things that that's outside of my entire drawing area. This is an 11 by 17 piece of paper right there. So these are all huge. That big. So I guess I can copy these these two. Make a bunch of new layers. Come on that layer. Lock it and hide it. And then take this out of this layer. Put it in that layer. Lock it and hide it. And then take everything else and lock it and hide it. Now I can go back here and just move it. And I can open these up and get them both a lot smaller. Get in there. See, because these pictures are basically the same, I can just whittle that piece onto the back of mine. I really even know. And then these, paste them there. Take these two. Actually, anyway, so what's going on up there?
Doing the distance teaching. That's fun.
Today on Sunday?
Yeah, well, I mean, I did one yesterday because I missed one the other day because all the days blend together. Let's be honest. I did have something really funny happen. You know, like I've said, my kids have behavior disorders. So on a daily basis, they don't like doing work, but online, they'll totally do it.
Oh, really? So you're finding out that like the interface is trigger? Makes the medicine go down?
No, I think the opposite is they get to play all the video games they want and they're bored. So like doing lessons with me is different than the last 2 weeks.
Oh, would they just start doing school?
Well, we've been out since March 15th.
Yeah.
So I've been doing lessons every day for 2 kids for the last 2 weeks.
Yeah.
I'm just saying the glass is half full, maybe. A lot of educators are having to learn how to use the internet better. I think that's good.
Well, if they didn't know how to use the internet, then
Well, there's a lot of us older ones that I didn't know. I'm not great at it. I'm being forced to learn how to use it better. But no zombies or anything yet.
let me see. I am making this full screen pretty much. I guess I can do this. Oops. Do this. Pay attention to what's going on also. It actually worked pretty good when I was doing that yesterday, whatever it was. Because then I just zoom in and then it kills. See, now I can zoom into this section. Well, actually, and then it'll be this section of the thing and then this section of the thing, and I get to cut off El Ponto. So it'll only cover this section when I end up editing it down. It works out pretty good. So that way I can still keep working over here and I can see what's going on in here. I can go over here and mute and stuff so I can cough all over the place if I need to. It's my corona. Oh, snap. Has anybody heard any memes to that song? Or whatever?
With the micro ones?
Yeah.
Super funny. There's been super funny parodies.
Okay. I haven't heard any.
Yeah, there's several.
Nobody even knows that song, probably.
No, we're dating ourselves, I think, on that one.
You know what I did? I highlighted 4 songs and hit shuffle and play. That's enough to make you go insane because there's only like 4 3-minute songs in there. So I'm going to go over here and open up my list of non-edited attribution required royalty free music and grab the ones that are, where did I put the good ones? Muzak, there it is. Found it finally. So now I can hit play to that folder. These actually sound like songs, even though this is not attribution required, royalty free. Doesn't this sound like the beginning of a TV show or something?
Oh yeah, like from the maybe late 70s or 80s.
Some dude is driving an El Ranchero road right here.
So are you more El Camino or Ranchero, dude? You got to pick.
El Caminos. Bob has a Ranchero, so it's obviously a Canadian.
Yeah, El Camino. Come on. Right. Although I always gave my friends a hard time. Like, buy a truck then.
This sounds like maybe Dylan or something.
Like Dylan's their brother is not as good.
This just sounds like the beginning of a song's about to start.
Okay, I see what you're saying. He's going to break into.
Yeah, it's about to go.
One of the worst.
I can't think of the other names of all those songs from like the 70s though.
Like Yardbirds and that kind of thing, like old Clapton.
Yeah, this is like the beginning of one of their songs, but for like 5 minutes.
Totally.
It's just
Remember the band Cream? This would be totally the beginning of a Cream song.
You know what the hell's going on here, but there's definitely a ninja involved. And there's something's up. Okay.
Do we have to read the Book of Five Rings before we listen to that?
Book of Five Rings?
Yeah, turn the last one.
I could play that. I'm pretty sure it's royalty free at this point or whatever that's called. Like, what do they call that? When you can just play something, it's open. It's not open source, whatever the hell the equivalent of open source for trademark is or copyright.
I listened to Art of War yesterday.
Yeah, I think that's something. I listened to the Book of Five Rings and Art of War. Both of them are like an hour.
Right.
And listen to them. And if you find a copy that isn't like all theatrical, there's some of them that have like cymbals going off all the fucking time and sound like, there's just too much going on. But if you just listen to a plain old reading of it, somebody knows what they're doing, who's reading it because they give a shit about it. It's like an hour. And I was going to say there's some books I'll listen to once a year, but I definitely listen to that maybe quarterly or something. I listen to that. It's sort of like, I don't know. Every once in a while, it'll be like, yep, that'll hit the spot. It's like drinking a glass of orange juice once in a while. If you don't eat orange, if you're not a person that drinks orange juice all the time, like sometimes that's just going to hit the spot. Or like tomato juice. It's one of those things that if you don't drink it every day, but once in a while, it's like the perfect thing.
Yeah, I agree. I feel like that about the Art of War as well.
I got to go check out where the dog is. She's sitting by the front door, and I'm always afraid some like stealthy criminal is going to come up and open my front door without me knowing it, pick the lock and shit, and then she's just going to be like, "All right," and then leave quietly, and I won't know. I have to go look every once in a while, make sure she's still there. There's definitely no traffic or nothing. I don't know what she's even looking at out there. All right, I got to throttle down my mouse.
Hey, you got to grab something to drink a beer right back.
So we're basically decided to go live here and chat about guns. It's supposed to be the first day of DragonMan's Museum opening for the season, for the 2020 season. But of course, with all the craziness, he's not opening today. So I am going to draw the dragon that is out front of the DragonMan gun shop and museum. And it's pretty awesome. Giant metal dragon, super detailed, super big. When I zoom out again, you'll see it next to my van. And it's definitely life-size dragon. It's freaking awesome. And we were just kind of wondering who drew it or who made it. I don't know. DragonMan's is a big 78,000 square foot private military museum in Colorado Springs. It's just east of Colorado Springs by about like 20 minutes, 30 minutes. So easy to get to if you're ever in Colorado. You like guns. It's an experience of a lifetime. You're not going to see any other museum like it. So I sent out a link to Patreons. There's a link over there if you're a Patreon, and a couple other people I sent a link in an email. If you're not want to jump in, if you're not on one of those lists, you want to jump in, let me know. But otherwise, one of the reasons I do this is so that I've got video of the process of me drawing it, and that's it's going to take me, I don't know however long it takes me to draw it, and then when I'm done, I'll be able to take the video that this live stream will create. This live stream will render into a video over on YouTube. And then I'll be able to take that video, pull it down to my computer, put it into my video software, and then speed it up. I usually speed it up like 2,500 times. And then that turns it in however long it was. I usually speed it up and turn it into about a 1-minute video. And in that video, I can explain what the point of the whole show was. And then that turns almost into animation. I really like it. I still watch people doing different kinds of projects, fast forward, mainly to see what tools can do, and then the techniques that they do to get there. It's just like a paintbrush or a screwdriver or a hammer or whatever. Knowing how to manipulate it is one thing, but understanding what techniques turn into what is part of the fun and part of the process of learning and developing it, right? So that's one of the reasons I do it. Plus, it's just fun to do, something to do, and hopefully inspires people to get up and do it. I'm no expert. I'm just wiggling my hand around here while I'm chatting with Woods here about guns. I'm not really talking about guns as much, but it could be.
So I was just looking up 78,000 square feet. So most of I just put 78,000 square foot buildings, and most of them come back as airplane hangars, just to give people like what that means.
What is a Walmart, I wonder?
Oh God, I don't know. I can keep looking. But then when you're drawing, sometimes I don't want to interrupt you because you're busy. So
it doesn't take any effort at all. I might as well. I'm basically doodling.
So in DragonMan, what was the thing that surprised you the most? I know we've had conversations about this.
I can't believe you asked me a question. Just kidding.
Well, I mean, I've asked you like, what was your favorite gun, and that was a hard one for you to answer. But like, what surprised you that he had such a huge collection of?
What did he have in there that surprised me?
Yeah, that he had a massive collection of blank and whatever that is.
Okay, so I went to DragonMan's in 17, and what did I even know about DragonMan's? I think that I had seen something in like 13 or 14 on like TV, because at some point he was going to do like what would you call it? Like what do they call those?
A reality show?
Reality TV show. Sort of like the one that the AK guy did, or the one that gun shop owner did. Except, of course, his would be insane, right? His would be
that would have been the coolest thing ever.
But there was some tragedy. His wife got killed, actually, literally got killed doing it. So that never happened. And that might have been the only time. And it would, so whatever I saw was and it was way before, whatever I saw had nothing to do with the thing about his wife. I didn't even know about that because it doesn't really get brought up because it's tragic, right? And nobody's trying to, that's just, it's a unique situation there. So I didn't even know about that aspect of it, but I knew that this guy was some guy who owned a tank or tanks, and that, he was going to do some reality show. And I never even thought about it again because I don't watch those kind of shows, and wouldn't have, I just didn't think about it, or the connection was never there. remember how the hell I got told about Dragon Man the first time.
I remember old news shows about him, like little clips in like different shows.
So I had been on. I had done the set. It was 2017. It was the leg of the tour where I had gotten the new van and I had headed out to New York to check out the castle, Bannerman's Castle out in New York. And I got to Chicago. I got from Tucson. I went to San Antonio, Texas, and that's when they were having the Hurricane Katrina stuff. So there was no gas anywhere. So I originally get there and I'm like, uh-oh, I'm just about to drive into chaos. And I had done a trip in 2001, in September of 2001. I was in Washington, D.C. on a road trip, right? And I had driven in there that then with no guns or anything. I was going to D.C. to people that didn't like guns. So back and then I was like, okay, I won't bring guns. 9/11 happens and I have to drive home without guns, right? So not like I got traumatized by that, but I did have to experience that. And then I go to San Antonio and I can't find gas. So I'm basically getting out on this road trip. And it's not like I've never done a road trip before, but like I say, I've done a road trip where I got literally the other side of the continent and then the world turns to shit and I don't have any guns. And I had guns with me. That wasn't the point, but I was like getting to San Antonio and I was like, what am I doing? Like, why am I about to drive into even more limited gas? Like, what am I doing? So I was kind of thinking like that. And I got up to Illinois and I had to kind of go quickly because I got from San Antonio through Dallas. I was using the apps and stuff on the phones and dealing with it. And I was able to get gas and get out of there. And then I get to the border with Arkansas and Texas, and my water pump was out of the van. So then I had to lose half a day, putting that fucking water pump back in like 5 times, keeping the 4 little gaskets that needed to be put in there aligned while the pump was going in. Turned out to be, well, it took me like 5 times putting the stupid water pump in the parking lot of the place. I get up to Illinois late, boogieing fast to Illinois, wondering if there's the water pump's going to work, and then my transmission goes out. So transmission goes out and cost me $3,000. I got to decide if I'm going to just turn around and go home after all that, or continue on, go to New York. So I figured after all of that, I'm going to go to New York anyway. I'm not going to drive all the way to Chicago and then come home, right? So I go to New York and go to see the museum, hung out with John, if he's out there, John Z. And then went down to DC, hung out with Marco, went through Ohio, hung out with Pink, and he helped me fix up the van a little bit, keep it all nice, get it all kind of back together, working on some electronics and whatnot. I had screwed up the belts, putting in the stupid water pump, and had this horrible squeak. It actually still has a squeak because I ended up getting that goop on those damn, what do you call them, gaskets all over everything in there. So it's got this horrible squeak. So anyway, I left there, go to Tulsa, hang out at Wanamaker's, and what part of the year was that? Did I go to the Gun Rights Policy Conference also? I think I went to the Gun Rights Policy Conference. Am I crazy? Is that the same year? 17? 18, I went to Dallas and I went to the Gun Rights Policy Conference. So after all that epic trip, I think in Dallas is when my friend Martin tells me about DragonMan's. And I'm like, well, I'm going to be there's no way I'm ever going to be able to do anything again. I'm going to just go ahead and make this my last trip. So I was like, well, screw it. I'm going to go from Dallas up to DragonMan's. I think that's how it went. And that's when I went to DragonMan's. So I think Martin would have just said something like, did Martin tell me? Or did somebody tell me in Tulsa? Anyway, I can't remember now. I wonder if somebody watching was around to remember. I have to go back and try to figure it out. I'm really drawing a blank. Anyway, so I guess the point of that was I never heard of Dragon Man. I had no idea what to expect. So just from whatever research, discovering if it's something I wanted to go check out or whatever, like doing whatever little bit of research I might have done, is when I figured out, oh, it looks really interesting. But you go to DragonMan's. I think here's the best way to explain it. Because your question was, what was the thing that was most amazing or whatever?
Right.
Going into here, going into 2017, going down to Colorado, going into DragonMan's. So I think this will do it, right? Seriously? I'm not going to be able to thumb through. There's no slideshow. Is there a slideshow? Open with slideshow. Not slideshow. They have a slideshow. Photos. What is photos? Yeah, that's it. This is how you drive up to DragonMan's. You're like, what the hell is this? Is this like a junkyard or something? Like, this is the road you're going to drive in, right? So then, like this. So as you start coming in, there's this kind of stuff going on. You can read that. So it's like my grandpa, like both my grandpas mixed.
Nice.
Like my one grandpa who did stuff like this, and my other grandpa that would kill you. It's like the two of them got together and did something that my grandmas would both hate. Both my grandmas would hate it. It took both my grandpas to make it.
I like read every sign.
So this is how you're driving. So I knew that it was an interesting place. And then I drive in past this and I'm like, okay. So to answer your question, is there any way to be amazed after all of this? No way. So then I park and I'm like, this doesn't look like what you'd expect. Then you can see this big ass dragon that we're drawing a drawing of. When you walk in, you're like, okay, I had seen this before. Like, this is pretty epic. Dragon Man is this like section of his gun shop where he just has a shit ton of ammo draped over a shit ton of built-fed guns, and then he's got these walls of ARs. So this is, I guess they're technically for sale if they're out here, or else they're as rentals. They might be as rentals. They're probably as rentals. But yeah, so there's this. This is just right there. You can hang out, look at it, go take a picture with it. You don't care. He's just a gun shop. He's got, this was Halloween, I think. That's why this isn't fly paper. He's basically just got his shirts and his hats. It's not like he's going nuts with stuff. There's a little tiny dragon sculpture. Dragon Man. Oh, so then when I got there, all that shit had happened. And I'm like, minding my business. And then some fucker in New York, or what, in Las Vegas, decides to be the fall guy for some sort of conspiracy where some number of people did some number of things with guns, and then they decided that bump stocks had something to do with it. So they went after bump stocks. So they started going at, this happened on like Wednesday, and this is like Sunday. So this is like days later. No, it's not Sunday. This is like just on some regular day of the week, because I didn't know the Dragon Man Museum was only open on Sunday. So that's, I get told about it. I'm like, well, I'm going to drive home from Dallas. I might as well drive past DragonMan's in Colorado, even though that's nowhere near the way home, because then I can go through Red Dawn and I can go through Albuquerque. It's an excuse to do a couple other things. Right. So anyway, so I get there and it's like Wednesday, but this is some guy from like Brazil news, so like Brazil CNN or something like that, Venezuela CNN or something like that. I don't know. He's speaking Spanish, and they've come up to do a video about this American and tell him about bump stocks. So DragonMan's out there telling him all about bump stocks. It was a pretty horrible interview. So then TV from, what do you call it? The Colorado Springs comes over. And then they're like, oh, okay, well then why don't we take the Brazil people into the museum, even though it's like Wednesday or something. And then there's these like other people are like all these people, there's like a family that were just hanging out there. And they're like, can we go in the museum? Or actually I was like, can I go in the museum with you? He's like, yeah, of course. And then DragonMan looks around and goes, hey, you want to go in the museum? It's a free day. Let's go. We're all going to the museum for free. So these people are like, oh yeah. So this is the DragonMan bike, right? That's where it comes from. That's why they call him DragonMan. So that's a little differently styled. That's why I don't think the dragon, the ones out front are his. They just have different eyes. You know, they're up top. A little more cartoony looking dragon maybe. And then certainly more flowy and that kind of thing. Anyway, then this is the museum, and we walked in backwards. So every other time I've walked in the museum, we walk in a different route. This time, since it was an abbreviated like private tour kind of thing, we did a different route through it, which blew me away because you go straight to this money shot. He was explaining stuff in an abbreviated way. So he takes us into this museum, and then boom, we're in this place, and he's telling us about how literally everything you can see here is dated like 1943 or so, 1943 or 1944. It's like every piece of ammo, every hand grenade, every cup of water, everything in this room is authentic to 1943. And then he's got like all three stoves, every kind of radio, like the different cots. Like he's got a representation of all the different stuff that you would have had. Really neat, just super authentic and interesting. I mean, it's not authentic at all in the way that it's all put together. I mean, this would have been like 18 different units, right? No one would have had this much stuff, but everything in here is authentic to the time frame. And then you walk out into rooms like this with specimens and items that are, some of them are a dime a dozen, but then other ones are literally almost unique, just almost unique. The Lucky Strikes with the green, I understand, are not inexpensive packs of cigarettes.
So that was kind of my question is amongst the collection, what was the thing? It doesn't have to be necessarily guns, but that surprised you that you have that many of that.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I don't even know how to, I think I'm just trying to show you, like, there's just no way. That's every single boot, every type of footwear that they had in World War II.
So just overall, it's just the sheer magnitude of how much each collection has in it.
It's just, yeah, how complete and how massive and how that's every female uniform. Like, did you even know there's that many female uniforms? Well, he's got them all. And, it's just like different ones. So, however many variations there were. This thing has, I don't know what that is. He's never actually talked about that. But there's another one over there that's going to have a complete trailer that just probably would have never been even put together. But, could have been. And he has one there. This is the radio stuff. He's like, I don't know radios, but those probably all work. That kind of thing. So, how often do you get to just see all the radio stuff like this? Probably because it's just multiple really good collections put together. But that's pretty much every radio item that they used in World War II. There's no way to show scale here, but this is like the bigger than the back of a pickup truck. This is one of the ones they use like to stop Nazis from bombing a city or whatever, like to see them when they were shooting at them and shit. Like it's a real, whatever they call that, spotlight.
Yeah.
The Nazi stuff is insane. Those are real cans of Zyklon. So I think he said he has 26 cans of Zyklon that are sealed, that are still got poison gas in them. Crystals. Those are uniforms from the three different concentration camps.
And forgive me if I'm wrong, DragonMan's a Jew, correct?
Yeah, he's like, he's definitely, well, and then he was also in Vietnam, so I can't even say like, yeah, so this part of the museum means a lot to him, because all the museum means a lot to him. He's really interested in this stuff. It's his collection. Right. It's that belt buckle that the Nazi people that protected Hitler wore. Very few of those, so it's just, And then you walk past stuff like the ammo cans. Have you noticed the ammo cans? Have you noticed the helmets, the flags and stuff, like the photographs? It's just not possible. He's, aware of the stuff he owns. Not, there's no way that anybody can be completely aware of everything. But, he's got the stuff that he'll talk about on the tours or whatever. But yeah, it's just, there's no way. It's just a completely unique museum. And the fact that every time you can go into it, since it isn't like a video tour or something, it is going to be completely unique every time you go in because people are going to point at different things and ask about different things. They must get sick of saying the same thing. They basically say the same thing every time, but it's not. I mean, they walk through the same layout and point at some of the same things, but it then gets organic as soon as people start asking questions and stuff. And this is the place from the air. So all of this stuff is just motorbike tracks or whatever, dirt bike tracks. And then this is all the ranges over here, all the different shooting ranges or these square areas. All of this stuff here is all the paintball fields and whatnot. And then that kind of L-shapey looking fat thing is the range. Is the gun shop. The gun shop is actually just a little front part. And then that's his machine shop where he fixes all the vehicles and does his Harley Davidson stuff. And then that's the 78,000 square feet of museum. Actually, that picture is probably an old picture because I took this picture in 17 of a picture that looked old. And now the museum, I think, has expanded into at least that chunk. And then I think another chunk on the back. So whatever these are, he owns the whole section maybe or more. So anyway, I can't answer the question. It's a tough one. He's got a lot of amazing stuff that he shares it and it's available or whatever word is, like it's right there.
Do you know how long he's had a museum? Decades and decades, I would imagine.
I don't think it's decades. Hold on. Well, I do know because it's in the description of this video, actually. So if we go back to StreamYard and tell it to go on the YouTubes, he started it in 1982.
So quite a bit, because I'd have been 11.
The first year I heard of DragonMan's was years and years ago in a Yamaha forum. Someone posted a pic of his Dragon Cycle. Didn't know about the museum. Oh, really? Oh, probably a Yamaha motorcycle. I was thinking dirt bikes or something. All right. Well, that was a lot easier than I thought. I thought it was going to take a lot more to get that thing out of there, but there wasn't that much to it, I guess.
Are you going to do anything with the scales or not so much?
I don't know. I've done a thing when I first started playing with this where I was playing with I think they're called brushes in here, but I would call them textures. I think most people call them textures. They were kind of in the software, but they added a level of variety, I think, or whatever the word would be. Like they didn't look uniform anymore. They started looking like 8 different people drew these things. And that's not really my goal. And I'm not trying to be whatever the word is, realistic or authentic or nothing. I just want to make something that represents whatever I'm trying to get across.
Oh, yeah,
so,
for sure.
So I don't really have a super good technique or a requirement or whatever, but I definitely don't want them to look like every single time different person drew it. And that's what was happening with those filters, I thought. So I was thinking about doing that, trying that on here. Basically, when I fill it with the color at the end, when I color it in, I'll color it with a texture instead of coloring it with just a solid color.
Okay, I see what you're saying.
But so like I never really like doing that, but for this it might work because it's not like I'm drawing 100 dragons that I want to have consistency on. When I'm drawing somebody's face, I don't want to like have 8 different ways of drawing a face is all. I don't understand this foot up in the air. It's driving me nuts. Why would he make this whole thing and then make this foot up in the air? Not obvious enough to me.
You're making your foot more pronounced?
No, I just mean, why would this thing, I don't know, why would he even put a foot on it? Why would he put this foot like flailing in the air like this? Put it like over here on the ground maybe, or like doing something. I don't know, it just seems weird to have this foot in the real.
The other side as well, maybe?
I can't tell what's on the other side, but I don't see any version of it or shadow or nothing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It just seems weird to have it laying there. I would have just left it off, I think. Unless you're going to put like one here and one here, so it looks like he's got a whole bunch of them or something. But, you know, they made a really interesting choice of shoving his one hand in the ground, leaving just one hand out, and then this weirdly weird one here. I guess that's why it's art. Nobody asked me first, though. I'd have been like, leave that foot off there. Waste your time. Oh, I guess that's his dragon. So, just go ahead and do this one. Well, I usually don't draw fans. I usually do this with that line tool. This isn't going to look very good.
All right, I already know what you're going to answer, I think. But if Dragon Man could give you any gun in his collection, which one is it?
He even has a PKM. So, I mean, if he has a PKM, a PKM. But I guess the Modus. He's got a whole bunch of them. He wouldn't miss one. And a Modus would be pretty awesome. I knew a guy that had 2 Moduses for a while. He let me shoot him quite a bit. I really like them. He sold one of them and got a Corvette. And then he got into cars and sold all of his guns. That guy had more than a gun shop's worth of guns. And then he's like an NFA guy who bought his NFA stuff pre-86. And then was like buying stuff when it was clever, like when it was cheap, sort of like somebody who would have bought SKSs because they seem like a good deal, even though he maybe didn't love SKSs.
Right.
Like the gun owner. So he was buying stuff like Stens and Macs and stuff that he didn't necessarily love, but he understood that, you know, there are limited number of Stens. Like there's only so many. For whatever reasons, he bought these things. And then when after 86, you know, he was able to sell like a Sten where they bought for maybe, I don't know, Stens used to cost nothing. And then, you know, sold it for a lot and then bought post 80. Wait, he was, I don't know if he was or not actually. So I think he was just able to buy low and sell high kind of thing. Like he bought stuff when it was cheap enough. And I'm also confusing him now with another guy I know. So basically though, he bought inexpensive or fairly inexpensive stuff at one time. And then later, when it was super expensive, was able to sell some of the things and then acquire things when they were good deals or maybe make trades. You know, like he's got a Sten that cost him hundreds. And then, you know, decades later, somebody's like, oh, I'll trade you, you know, tens of thousands of dollars worth of gun for a Sten for whatever reason. And the guy's like, sure. And then all of a sudden he's got tens of thousands of dollars worth of guns that really didn't cost him that much in the first place.
Or you said he got into cars. Maybe he traded for cars that.
In the beginning, I thought he was into guns. Almost all the time I knew him. I quit knowing him. But I'm just saying, like, when he first started getting into machine guns, he was buying them much cheaper than later on. And when he eventually sold them all, that was not that long ago. That was 10 years ago, maybe. So not even. So I'm sure he made a shit ton of money altogether. But I'm just saying he was able to acquire more and more and more all the time. Not because he was super rich, but because the guns themselves acquired such value that he was able to just keep doing that over and over. I mean, once you figure out that deal, all those guys that had a bunch of cheap Stens and Macs and stuff, and then, bought stuff for hundreds and sold it for thousands. And then we're like, huh. It's like when you buy SKS and you're like, oh, that worked. Now I'm going to go buy Mosin's, right? And then eventually it works for Mosin's. And then maybe you bought Nagant pistols or something. I mean, somebody in regular surplus could have been doing the same thing over the years. With not that much money, you could have leveraged yourself into quite a pretty penny. Just buying SKSs, If you would have bought 100 SKSs at $100, how much would that have cost you? $1,000 or $10,000?
100 SKSs. So
100 SKSs for $100. That would have been $1,000, right? No, it would have been
10,000.
$10,000.
But still, I mean, 10,000. But what are you selling them for now?
100 SKSs at whatever $300 would have been $30,000.
Right.
Well, maybe you wouldn't make that much money.
I like the van with the dragon.
I'll probably put this one on the tour site. Probably 1919, 30 cal would be cool. Yeah, you can buy them semi-auto. I would definitely encourage you, if you like them, to look into getting a semi-auto one. They're not that expensive, and you can get that butterfly switch and just tap on it. It's basically full auto. You don't have to bump. It's sort of like bump firing. So all you can do is tap on it. Just like, that's how fast you're shooting. It's awesome. Especially when 30-06 is cheap. I don't know if anybody ever owned 308s back in the day, but I can remember buying 308 South African ammo like it was water, shooting at other people's stuff. I never owned a semi-auto 308, so I always shoot at other people's stuff. But some people wouldn't want you shooting it. It was like a machine gun or something, but some cheap ammo. Seats in there. All right, well, so I guess that's it. Well, I didn't color anything. Color stuff. Anyway, I was working on some stuff and I needed a break, and this was a good way to do something else, something a little constructive, maybe tiny but constructive. While I'm not working on anything constructive here. So I'll put it out there. We've been live for an hour or something, and kind of bullshitting. Wood's been in here. How many people are watching? 9 people are watching, so I'm under no legal nor moral obligation to keep the chat going unless there's people saying stuff. Probably being corked with somebody. This is usually other people's days for stuff. But if we don't hear nothing from nobody, I'll just jump out of here. Like I said, I don't really need to be corking. Who am I corking? Yankee or Honda? I don't know. What are you doing over there? Sounds like a chamber.
What am I doing?
Yeah.
Smoking.
What the hell? Why did it switch over? Oh, you know why? Because I didn't lock that layer. So that's what happens when you don't lock your layer. Gotta lock that layer and lock that layer. Now when I do this layer, it won't start touching stuff on it. It sounded like, you know, when you're in the chamber and then somebody
Sorry,
goes,
it's probably my furnace. I'm in my garage.
oh, that sounds like,
Yeah, my gas furnace.
why doesn't this thing want to work? All right, now you're pissing me off. Okay, I'll just delete that layer then, I guess. Layer, and then add another couple of layers and draw on that layer. Yankees live. I don't think Yankees audience gives a shit about what I do. But I don't know. I guess my viewers go watch Yankees.
Well, it was nice chatting with you, G. I got to go make some dinner, man.
Okay, take it easy.
Later, man.
He's going to watch Yankee. Why is it doing this weird thing? It's like coming out all faded. Wow, it took a lot. Why does it look so weird? I guess I have an opaque on this. What it's called. Boom. Why did that look so weird? says it's 100, but it ain't 100. That must be in that layer. That's what it is. X. In this layer. Here we go. It's freaking me out. It's kind of neat though. All right, so let's just say that's where it was, and I will fill in the rest of that one. With that sewing machine? Question mark. It's under teeth, that's why. Oh, what happened? What? You're down here, you freaking thing. All right, now we're pissed. Now we're really pissed. Enough is going on. How about this? Just change your damn color already. Oh, that's not good because it's under it. Ugh. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Is it really gonna be like this? It's be like this. So I gotta take this, put it under here. Open this. Open these. Put them in here. Lock this effing thing. Yep, now I can go in here. This, this, that. Now I can take that and that. And I can cover it like I've been trying to do. Put this back on top. Now we're cooking the gas. All right, well, nobody's saying anything out there. Foss is the last person to say something 35 minutes ago. So there's just a couple of paraplegics watching. Unfortunately, your people scooted you in front of this show. Sorry. You'd probably rather be watching something else. But this is what you got scooted in front of. Maybe if you knock something over, you're putting a spoon or something, they'll come in there to scold you. And then you can moan at the internet, and then maybe they'll change the channel for you. I'll say things like this so that when they knock over the pudding now, and then I'll say, change the channel, change the channel, change the channel. Now they'll know to change the channel if they're sympathetic to your plight. But if they locked you in a room watching this show, they might not have your best interests at heart. Sorry to say. But even in these trying times, people are going to be mean to paraplegics. Right. Nobody's saying anything. All that happened is everybody fled out of here. I started calling you all names. That's everything. Saying people that have lost a lot of use of their arms and legs. That is just one. So I guess we'll just have to be covered by the tongue. But I guess with that, definitely riled up a bunch of people, caused them to run out of here. Probably go tell Yankee I was being mean to him. Report me to the internets. Or maybe they went to go check out DragonMan's Museum, which is a cool place to visit if you're ever in Colorado Springs. Highly recommend it. Is it the best thing you could do in Colorado Springs? It could easily be the best thing you could do in Colorado Springs. I did go to an awesome restaurant. If you're one of my Patreons and you ask because you're going to Colorado Springs, I can tell you about one of the best chocolate chip pancakes I've ever had. That's in Colorado Springs, so you have that to look forward to if you ever go. Where's DragonMan's? Also in Colorado Springs. Oh no, what am I trying to do? I'm trying to put that under there. pudding is on the floor. The pudding is on the floor. Nice. Change the channel. Change the channel. I know my rights. A lot of times what can happen is even the most caring of care workers, it can be trying times. So, they didn't intentionally stick you in front of a horrible show like this, but it happened. I don't know if I should keep it orange like it is. I'll try pulling the color right from it, see what happens. I don't know if I should keep it that color or if I should make it some other color. Oops. That is the color it's supposed to be. That one's not too bad, but this one's a better color, I think. Much richer color. Such a rich color. I think I'm going to go with that. So, boom. However, this is not the right color. So, grab that color. Snap. Did I grab it on the first try? I think I did. That's how good I am at snapping colors out of there. All right. Well, we start this show with 1 or 2 people, and then a bunch of people somehow find their way in here, and then I insult them until there's just 1 or 2 people left. And then I feel like I've accomplished something. So I wanted to open this up to Patreons, give them a chance to jump in. Woods took us up on it. Actually, I sent him an email, so I don't know if he took us up on it in which way. But either way, I'm going to go ahead and head out. You can go watch other shows such as Rich White, Yankee, Honda, Pancakes, and I think that's it on tonight, but there might be other stuff. So thanks again for showing up. I guess I will do the rest of this on my screen capture software. And maybe I won't. Everybody left. I can just do it now. I can just do whatever I want now. Everybody left. I don't think I like the idea of having his arms that color. Because I thought it was going to be a good idea. No, I don't think it's a good idea. I guess if I did this. Right, do that. That was a hell of better. And then I would have to also then do this. right, looks like Fias is taken out. Somebody snuck in here. Sincere is in here now. I haven't been saying anything because nobody's been in here. I've just got a couple little more things to doodle up here, and then I'll be done doodling. Done been doodling DragonMan's dragon. It's out front of his place in Colorado Springs, Colorado. Pretty cool, awesome place to go hang out if you've never been there. You got dragons, you got guns, you got museums, you got military surplus, you got war relics, you got recreations, I guess would be the word. You got rentals, you got paintballs, you got something like this, I guess. You got a lot of fun stuff to do with DragonMan's for sure. Oh, missed it. There it is. When all this Cornova 19 is over, the museum will open up again. Back to work for me until then. You going back to work right now? I'm yawning. It'll definitely be nice when they can mail somebody something in the mail, and then they can go, here, when you're done, do this. And then when you do that, you can go, oh, okay, I'm not a carrier anymore. And then you can go do your thing. Go back and do your thing. I guess I'll do the review mirrors a little bit. Also, the man has them. All right, now let's give that stuff some color. We'll give these the gray color that they are. Give this some sort of a blue color. And it should be. And then we'll give this the color of blue, I guess. And then we'll go over here and we'll put that windshield this windshield back on top of everything. And that should fade everything else nicely. You need to go back in here and take that and shove it underneath of the steering wheel. And we need to shove that underneath of the steering wheel. Now it's even better. All right, so that's the van with the dragon behind it. And now we go over here and click this and disappear all that stuff. All right. The tour at DragonMan's is like 2.5 hours. So totally worth doing. If you need to leave early, you can. There's no bathrooms or anything there, so it's not like the fanciest place in the world. But I'll take care of that kind of business before you go. Oh, we're almost at 2 hours. I don't think I can handle the whole 2 hours though, because now I'm starting to get tired. So, yeah, we wanted to go live. I've been wanting to draw the DragonMan dragon for a while now, and now I have it. And now I can technically take this and this, go back to this, and I can technically, I think, put this over here. You know what I'm saying? And I don't think anybody would even be able to tell that I was doing it like this. So, and it would just look right. Actually, I need to put a little extra something on here. Maybe like this. And then go over here, tap that, and tap that. And then that way, the dragon has a little bit of color to it. But now I could put that tail on this dragon and no one would ever be able to tell the difference. Pretty crying, my dog's crying at me. So there's DragonMan's dragon, kind of a crappy, shitty cartoon of it. And we're right around 2 hours, which is about as long as the tour is. And if I had my dog on the tour, she would start to cry at this point in the tour. This is how needy she is. Much of a crybaby. So I'm going to lock this in again. And now I'll make that horn a different color because that seems like that's the way that should be done, right? Now she's snorting at me. Do you hear that? Okay, now we got a horn. First, I'm going to tap it to this other color just to see what happens if I make it this color. I don't think I'm going to like it. No, it needs to be a different color, right? So I'm going to take it and I'm going to make it like that color. So now it's lighter. Lighter? Lighter? I don't know if I like it lighter. You hear that now? She snarled at me. She's giving me this, oh, I've got a really loud snore. I'm so ignored and neglected. All right, I gotta go before this dog gets neglected. We're not quite at we are not quite at 2 hours according to the El Pato, but blame it on the dog. She's feeling like she's gonna melt. What do you want? What is it you want? What if I go another 15 minutes on this live show? Is that okay with you? Oh, she looks like she's going to be exhausted. So I don't want to hurt a puppy's feelings. We're going to end this one. Thanks everybody for joining in. Go to DragonMan's, support your local dragon shelters, and we'll be back to pick up later.